Shalom, this is meteorologist William Henry Ryland IV. You can visit me on my Facebook page, William H. Rylands, and I wanted to bring to you today the weather, the news, whether or not we will survive the weather. And what does the picture that I posted have to do with the video? Nothing. Just felt like adding something to the scene. But here, let me explain to you why the hurricanes are sucked into our cities and then they slow down when they arrive at our cities. Okay, as we know, burning, when we burn things like, say, petroleum, for example, inside of our cars, for example, it requires oxygen. Now, oxygen is, of course, heavier than carbon monoxide, which comes out of the car's pipes. So let's just review our density and buoyancy of the Earth when we have, heavy hydrogen at the bottom, and then we have H2O, which is hydrogen and oxygen, and then we have above that oxygen. Of course, we can just, figure this out in our minds without really having to look at a graph, but you can look at it to confirm what I'm saying, because I really haven't looked at the levels. I've just, understand that hydrogen is heavier. Then H2O, of course, would be hydrogen mixed with oxygen. So, of course, that would be next. And then just oxygen itself, which is, our level where we live here. And then above that would likely be dioxide, which we breathe out, di, which is 2, which is heavier than monoxide, right? So mono would be up here. And then, of course, we have our other stuff, whatever, helium and other things up there, which are really just broken apart molecules, broken apart atoms. If oxygen is really 888, I'm sure monoxide is smaller. I'd have to review. Anyway, what I'm saying is, as we're burning our oxygen down here, and turning it into a lighter gas up here, we're creating a depression. We're sucking in our oxygen and burning it and turning it into lighter, which then, it goes up here. And then, as it gathers, it will then expands, right? And then maybe push down on our oxygen levels, which are already going down. So we create this depression, and then so oxygen is pouring in from the surrounding areas, right? Like we would say mostly from the mountains and the trees, which produce oxygen, but I guess as well from the oceans as well. So if there is a storm out on the ocean, it's going to be pulled into the depression, into the city. So then when it arrives on lands where, the depression is, there's that depression is all the way around. It's, or it might follow the roadways, where we're burning more of our oxygen. So then our storm, of course, will slow down there. It's not going to want to go over that hump. It's going to settle in there or follow the roads, around the coast we go. Does this make sense? I've also explained this in another video, how we're also chewing up our oxygen in the waters because our waters are polluted and the sun can't shine through to then, for the coral and the plants to grow. And the reason that the sun is not able to shine through is because our waters are cloudy, not only from our own pollutions. Now they're even being stirred up even more by the storms. But, with our constructions, our drilling, our digging, all that going on, besides we've fished out and removed the water filter shellfish and things that we are not supposed to eat according to the script yours, whether or not you believe in the script yours, we can still do our scientific proving these facts that shellfish clean the ocean waters. So now there's more sediment because we've eaten our filters, and then the sun can't shine through, which then warms the top of the levels, which then evaporate, which create the huge storms. It's evaporating water, right? Condensation. When really the sun's supposed to shine through and warm the bottom, which then the bottom, as it was warm air rises, so does warm water would rise and it would cool as it rises. So we would never really even have evaporation if we had clear waters. So we wouldn't even have these storms to begin with. Right? All right. So that makes sense. So consider now, if we have the top of the waters are thick with sediment, the sun's not shining through to the bottom, then the bottoms are getting cooler, and you would think that coldness eventually can, arrive at the temperature of freezing. And imagine if the bottom of the ocean freezes, ice expands. So that'll raise the ocean levels. It will flood the earth. I mean, that might be why our ocean levels are rising. That's also why we're having more and more storms, and things are going to continue to increase until people listen to me. And you can watch one of my other videos where I'll explain many other concepts and ideas of having energy for our vehicles other than burning up petrol. And not that I want to put anyone out of business, I'll give the oil companies and these people jobs. I have other jobs, repurpose them for other things. So we don't have to be, we can have the whole world in on these projects. We just need to agree and come to the understanding that we're destroying our earth and stop denying the white elephant. What white elephant? The one standing right in front of you. Well, until we listen to me, everyone listen to me. I'm the Lord God. Anyway, who says that? Well, there might be some prophecies that I fulfilled, if you follow and you learn who I am. But whether or not who I am or blah, blah, and none of that makes, but what I'm saying makes sense. So let's add one more thing into this, right? So if it's true that, the oxygen comes from the trees and the trees are on the mountains and, as our oxygen levels go down, it's pushing down on the air off the mountains, which then the air will rush into the depressions or, in our case, in America, we have the mountains on the one side, Appalachians, and on the other side, we have the Rockies. So in the center is a valley. So the air rushes down into the middle and then spins around, which then would create a tornado. Maybe that's why we have cyclones, huh? Okay, well, that makes sense too, doesn't it? Besides this, there's much more, but I've pretty much just explained meteorology to you. Okay? Wow, that was very simple. So how can we predict now the pathway that the storm will take? Well, who's burning the most oxygen? Because it's going to settle into that depression. Okay? We've created the wind. We created the storm. We created our own slavery. And I could go over some more of that in another video, but I know people hate to hear about it, so I'm just going to end this video now. Shalom, peace. If we survive, who knows? Whether or not the people are going to listen to this. Maybe you should share these things on the news for once. I'll try to talk fast so I don't take up too much time. So you don't need too many commercials or whatever, and you hurry up and squeeze in all your advertisements because that's what's really important is making money, not life. Who gives a fuck? Anyway, peace. Oh, I didn't mean to say that. Oh, oops. I said a bad language word.